We are recording this meeting. So, hello everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Judy Ann Kellaway. I'm the Associate Dean here at the Long School of Medicine. You are joining now the Club PreMed application workshop. So, I really hope it will help you. I hope that there are more than a few nuggets in here to help you with your application or a reapplication. I'm going to get going right away so that we have lots of time for a good Q&A at the end. Can you all see my screen? I lost my green box. Can you? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so here we go. Um, if you have heard me talk on your campus or in other venues, I hope that I'm adding some new things here for you today also, and lots of nutshell kinds of things. So successful applicants are purposeful, they're organized, they're disciplined about that organized plan that you lay out for yourself, and they use reflection really in you as you draft your application. Reflection is a superpower. We'll get into that a little bit later. Successful applicants have a variety of experiences, and they show meaning and value and lessons in those experiences. And successful applicants develop strong personal attributes. And not only are you developing strong personal characteristics, but they're evident in the application. And then again, evident at the interview process. We see people getting out of their comfort zone, out of the box. We see people teaching themselves something. Improving yourself in some way is something we love to see on the admissions committee. And, challenges happen to us and we learn from them and you tell us about it. But sometimes people seek a challenge and do something purposefully that they think will be challenging. And that's always a great addition. These are common comments that admissions committee members make when we are evaluating applications. Heart of service, culturally aware and sensitive and understanding of others and other people's viewpoints, very important. Humble and kind, honors and respects people, lots of interaction with people. So make sure that that is evident in your application. Um, Industrious, creative, curious, dynamic. For reapplicants specifically, we see that they've made improvements to their application. A lot of times, I must say, most of the time, that's probably metrics. So it's probably that MCAT. That's a common thing for people to tackle and improve. But they've continued reapplicants. We'd like to see you continue exploring medicine and healthcare, your service to others, your sacrifice of your time to serve other people, and your extracurricular things. And reapplicants have added new experiences in that application. So other comments that we can see or hear during committee meetings is that the motivation for medicine is not clear. And I think part of that can be passion. I think we will talk about this later, but if you're a quiet or reserved or um, even like a very humble person, you do need to talk yourself up. You do need to, and especially the introverts, shy people, you need to show it. And especially when well, in both places, in the written application itself, but then again during the interview. Um, that's in an interview presentation, and we go into more of that. So we'll do that in a couple of months. Um, so that, and there's a little sub bullet there, motivation not being clear. Sometimes things are very superficial, and and that takes reflection. So this superpower shows up all the time. Um, the applicant um, may have needed to get out of the box or out of their comfort zone. If you've done everything in one area, whether that's your activity, your area of activities, or a city or location, think about doing something in another place. Unidimensional is the same sort of commenting on not a lot of variety in the application. And another big one is we don't see people or patients or connections or human connections in the personal statement or through the activities. It's interesting because you can build a person could build uh, quite an array of experiences, but they're not like connecting with other people. So that will be important. We want to see that our future medical students are people. So let's see, other comments. This particularly in the interview, lack of motivation. I just don't see the motivation is the comment, or there is a lack of enthusiasm, and this happens very often. The answers were just so superficial. And we can look at the application and see all these wonderful things. But if you're not able to bring enthusiasm, your passion for medicine, and some depth to your answers, that may harm your opportunities. So again, reflection is all over the place. It takes a little time to sit with the things that you're doing, sit with the things that you've listed in your activities, sit with the things that you've written about in your personal statement, and reflect on that. Like if I asked everybody right now, um, why do you want to do this? Everybody would say, I want to help people and I want to help people through medicine. But you have got to take it a lot farther than that. Some of you are able to like go deeper and deeper in a casual conversation, or not casual, but an impromptu. You have the depth. I'm not able to do that. When I think of things, the superficial things stick with me, but then I have to really spend time to fill that out and plump that up and go deeper. So please, you might need to spend some time with that. Sometimes we don't see changes in the application for a reapplicant. There aren't any current activities. We look at your timeline, and if there are gaps in learning about medicine or serving, those are the two big ones I think, then it might not be a deal breaker, but it's certainly something that we would look at critically. If I'm saying things that I should be more clear about or specific, would you please let me know? I don't have the chat up. Where did it go? There we go. So, okay. So yeah, please add it or just unmute and say, could you clarify that? I'm happy for you to do that too. So there's no current things listed. Deficiencies are not corrected. That's
Is
it.
it okay?
Yes.
Sorry. I have a question.
Yeah.
My name is Alejandra Perez. I was just wanting to go back to you said like if there is an inconsistency between or no current activities.
Yes.
For example, if you are applying like right after this previous application cycle, is there a specific amount of time that's kind of like an issue if you didn't,
Yeah.
finish
So
your
not
activity?
really. If you're making a subsequent application, those that's that's very likely current enough, but you're going to have a planned section where you tell us that you continue to, you plan to continue this scribing work, or you plan to continue your medical assisting. So that's fine too. Something I learned for a recent, and you'll see some other videos getting uploaded hopefully in the next couple of weeks, but in walking through the application, there's a chronology section that you know about, okay? And that chronology, in that section of TMDSAS, you approve it, you tell it to import all of your timeline from your activities. And in that setting for the chronology, if there is a 3-month gap, they will come back to you, it will generate an error. So we want to know, maybe you did nothing for a summer. Um, you need to think of something to say for that. I'm not sure how that works. If there's, it's just a summer break in school or something, but you all are so industrious and so busy. I don't imagine that happens too often. Okay. So those are the kind of gaps. Thanks for the question, Alejandra. And sometimes when people have been out a long enough time, the pathway is not clear. We have those extra essay, non-traditional questions, give you more characters to write about your path. If you were, some things are close. We see lots of people coming from teaching into medicine, but we see people coming from financial background, business background, journalism background. What was it that that seems like more of a step for us? So we want you to explain that. Okay. So I like to tell people my thoughts about why no acceptance, and there are three numbers: numbers one, numbers two, and number three. Number one is, you know this already. I don't mean ever to discourage anyone, but numbers part one is there are 50,000 applicants, right, to medical schools across the country. That includes our Texas system. And there are 20,000 spots across America. With all the new schools popping up and all the new spaces to fill, we still haven't moved that needle. And in that 30,000 um, number, the 30,000 applicants who do not get in any given year, I want you to know there are plenty of you who are deserving and capable. We just don't have space for you right now. So know that the reapplicant pool is huge. And every year, our school and every other school looks at you and what you're doing. And, there is that we have reapplicants applying 2 and 3 and 5 times. I think it shows motivation for this and determination and persistence. And we have those people end up in our class every single year. So if you are called to this, and you think there's this reasonable opportunity for you, you have to be, clear about expectations and things. But keep applying. Nothing wrong with reapplicants. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we might have said at an admissions committee, gosh, this person is a reapplicant. What is wrong with them? Why didn't they get in? We don't say that. We haven't said that for decades and decades. So keep trying. Numbers part two is that message that you hear about applying early, and TMDSAS will suggest that you apply by May or June. I have a big caveat to go along with that. Early is great if you're ready. If you have put reflection, if your answers are all robust and complete and have depth and meaning, then good. Go for it early, and hopefully you've had a chance to prepare for years, right? For the last few years in undergrad um, or even after graduating. So it is true that statistically speaking, if you look at the pie of um, interviewed applicants and you take a big hunk of the pie that is 50 to 75% of the pie, those people have submitted their applications in May and June for up to 7, depending on the year, but a huge percentage. So it's good. But also, I feel that those people have had a good time to complete their application, get everything done, and of quality. So if it is of quality, hit the button and submit. And if you need some time to polish it, then take that time to polish it. We'd much rather see something that is high quality. Numbers part three is metrics. This is a common reason. There are so many people who, for whom that MCAT score, that MCAT test was just like a shock. Didn't know it was going to be this way. So that's quite often the setback for the first application, and you just need to tackle it again. And we can talk about some pointers that I have as a non-MCAT expert, but watching a lot of people redo it and have success. Sometimes people are an underseller. When I talk to people about improving their application for next year, I'm like, well, we get into conversations about what are you doing and this and that and hobbies and things. And I'm like, why didn't you put that on there? So don't be an underseller. On your list of activities, you should have every single thing that takes up your day, your week, your month, your semester. And then take a look at it after presentations and things. Maybe there are some things that you want to pull into the application. It's pretty unusual for the interview to be the deal breaker. Usually you all are very professional. You comport yourself at the interview like wonderful young future doctors, and sometimes the things that I previously mentioned come into play, like just not able to express yourself. It takes practice. It takes practice to answer questions, and you should be practicing in the mirror and on Zoom and assessing yourself and your ability to orally communicate. And if you're shy, you need to rev it up. Okay. And if you are, I gotta say this too, because this comes up, and I can't read your minds. I don't know what a person is really thinking during interview day. If you are interviewing at a school, that might not be your top choice, or you've had lots and lots of interviews, and so you are sort of dulled to it, that can be interpreted as no interest in that school. And that absolutely, if that is an interpretation of your demeanor, that absolutely can be a deal breaker. The whole cycle is very long and it is complicated. And number one, you shouldn't interview at a school that you're really not interested in. You should withdraw the application before that. And if you are interviewing, you're taking a precious spot and you should give it your all. Okay, so just saying. Other things are the experiences are lacking, application lacks in certain areas, personal statement, and violations to be a deal breaker are rare. We see a lot of them, even academic violations. Those are not a deal breaker for us. We'll talk a little more about it. General tips apply in your year. No, no, excuse me, let me just watching my time. um, know what you want to put in there and have it high quality. If you don't have everything ready, maybe it's not your year. Maybe it's best to take a gap year. Love gap years to finish out. You're in school, you're trying to focus on your grades because that is so important. We realize we ask a lot of you. We ask a tremendous amount of pre-med in this process. So we understand that. And to present a fuller application, meaning a gap year, like that's an excellent thing to do. Luke, does anybody know what Luke 12:48 is? It is to whom much is given, much is expected. So if you have resources all around you, if you happen to be connected in a medical center, if you have people around you who have done medical school, especially in recent times, because things change if it's your mom, your dad, or your aunt. But use those resources, ask for help, ask for them to read your statements, ask for them to read the small items of description or your longer essays and things. um, and the mom, it's connected to this mom, dad, and if you've got a relative in in your life, you make sure you're not just shadowing with them, but using their connections and networks to reach out, find some names from them maybe, but reach out on your own to make it yours, and ask people for some opportunities. Usually that comes in the healthcare arena. It is key for reapplicants. As a reapplicant, you'll get a drop down. If you say, yes, I've applied before, you get a drop down. And don't, like, we see everything once a year among thousands of applicants. Somebody sort of skips over that question, but we are quite aware if people are reapplying or not. So don't try to like scooch by it. That doesn't work. In fact, that's a deal breaker, because what's at the basis of all of this? What's at the basic? What's the very most basic thing, but so important, is integrity in this whole
Honesty.
process, of course. So don't try to scooch by that. And you get an opportunity to say how you improved. It's perfectly fine to say, I redid my MCAT and now it's awesome and I'm excited about that. I continue my work here and there, and even if it's the same work, you can use that space to show how you've grown. Okay, and more lessons that you have learned in the last year. So
Question.
yes.
Yes, hi, my name is Cecilia Camargo. As a reapplicant, when you say to discuss more about what you did to improve your application, how what is a way that it sounds genuine to explain what you've done to improve? That way it doesn't look like you've done all these other things to look good or
Right.
to check the list.
Right. What a great question, because you don't want your, pardon me, your writings to sound like you're checking things off a list.
Right.
I would say that this is reflection. Cecia, is that how you say it?
Cecia, yes.
Cecia. Um, so I would say again to take quiet time, turn off interruptions, turn off your phone, and write it from your heart. Your brain is involved, but write it from your heart, and then polish it if you need to polish it. But if it comes from your heart, um, and you say, I'm really determined, I'm called to this, this is a passion for me, so I continue my work in this and that. I think just like your personal statement, I think you can use power words that show us dedication, commitment, passion. And um, you know, a lot of people who hadn't done research before think that that's the missing piece. And for a lot of schools, it's not the missing piece. So that looks a little check boxy, but if you really want to explore that other area of this life and do research, I think the sincerity or genuineness will come across. I hope that helps you.
Thank you.
I
Yes,
hope
ma'am.
that-
Thank you.
Mhm. Describe your activities in the best way. Examples coming. Don't oversell, don't exaggerate, don't repeat, or repeat in the right places. So if you have a scribing job, if somebody is paying you to tutor, you can put that scribing job in your employment section and in your healthcare section. Okay, so employment, please repeat it. If you're a paid tutor or in some sort of program where you get compensated, as a mentor, that should go under leadership, because you have responsibility for another person's learning, right? And growth. So repeat in the right places, use my shoebox if you haven't already to structure structure your activities section. I think you all might be, if you're ready or to apply or reapplying, you may be beyond that, but that's okay. You have to do a real and critical assessment. Be hard on yourself. Don't be too hard, but look at it with this knowledge of this workshop and other schools' workshops. What is it that you need to improve upon? Um, so it has to be a critical and real assessment, which I think most of you do well. Everything counts, large and small. If you're reporting some small things, you might, if you have some things in your healthcare, shadowing 4 hours, shadowing for 2 hours, shadowing for 8 hours, those might be very valuable, but it looks a little choppy to say 2, 4, 6 in separate entities. So just say miscellaneous shadowing and combine those smaller things. That comes into healthcare section and the community service section of the biography, your personal bio. All good things are good. I have a couple of mottos. One is all good things are good. But if there is value in something that I might think is kind of a small thing, you need to bring that. You need to tell me what the value is. It is your journey. It is your journey. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Okay. Use other people, use each other as sounding boards and support and for brainstorming and ideas and help along the way, but stop comparing yourself to people. There are a million ways to get here. You have to do it yourself. Okay. So if somebody else is getting in and somebody's getting a pre-match offer and somebody else found this opportunity, like, okay, good for them. Celebrate them, but then just get to work. So, so please don't compare yourself to people. When there are so many components to the application, and there'll be a new video. Somebody remind me at the very end, to tell you about White Coat Notes and the series that I hope will help a lot of people along the way. So there's one about lots of details about the TMDSAS and AMCAS applications, but I want to comment on a few things. Your photo matters. Okay. It is not, we're not trying to identify you. You know, when you go get a passport photo, those of you who are blessed to travel here and there, passport, that the guy or woman at the counter will say, stop smiling, or your driver's license. They don't like for some of us, that's hard. Okay. It's not a passport photo. It's not a photo that's, you know, 10 most wanted on the post office wall. It is your professional presentation of yourself. So we don't look at it to see, is this you here on interview day? We look at that photo. I look at it and say, is this the person? I'm coming to the ER and I'm freaking out. My son has a big gash on his knee. What does he need? And I see you in this picture. Do I see warmth? Do I see human connection? Do I see a warm, caring smile? Is there attention to detail in your professional application photo? Are you in a slobby t-shirt? Or did you bother to like take a little care with your presentation and dress up a bit to show us you as a professional? So no costumes, like we can talk details and things, but it should be just a nice representation of you. Okay. And we definitely see those beautiful photos, and people comment on that and say, look at this person, look how they presented themselves. So you get little brownie points for that. Your email should not be goofy. You're not a doctor yet. So if there's doctor in your email, like just generate a very professional email, please. My friend, Dr. Perry, who's the admissions dean at Foster in El Paso, says there really are no optional essays, that third essay is a chance for you to talk about, you've had a long, nice life with lots of industry. You've done lots. So tell us about it. Okay. Um, excuse me. The violations, I told you those are common, but rarely a deal breaker, honestly. Be honest. Tell us what lessons you learned from a misstep. Is anybody in this Zoom room perfect? Is anybody perfect? No. You know, even when you reach this age, this time in your life, the same as me. Like I'm as imperfect as anyone, but we all try to take those missteps and not do them purposefully. When you have choices, try to stop and think, what is the best choice here? I need to get myself out of this situation. No, I'm not going to do that. So make a purposeful decision about a good choice. And if it's a misstep, then tell us what you learned and how you're committed to not doing that again. Your personal biography is very important. Healthcare community service and extracurricular, to me, are like the most important, because I kind of know I'm going to see healthcare and community service, but who are you in the extracurricular? I love the extracurricular. You can put so much in there. That's a brief walk through the application. And let's see, here are your 3 essay prompts. Common errors are really not addressing the prompt. It's pretty common for somebody to write about medicine as if they're writing a paper. Like, let me tell you my impression of what healthcare should be today. So it's not a term paper. And we really like to see the stories that you have developed along your path. Tell us about a role model. Tell us about your parents being, having expectations for you and helping you along the way, and how they are role models. Talk about the people that you have connected with in service to them when you are sacrificing your time. We call it community engagement now. So I get it that we have to engage with communities and do what is right for them. Big priority, of course. But I like to see serving, like sacrificing your fun time instead of going to a party, instead of going to a movie. You're sacrificing your fun time to be with another person. So to me, it's still service. Answer the prompt, use examples. Look at this one. Your main essay says, be sure to include the value of your experiences that have prepared you for this. Demonstrate your personal attributes all through the application. That's a great thing to have. Trade your PDF, your application, trade it with people and say, what attributes are showing here? Do I sound arrogant at all? Do I sound compassionate? Is there humility in my application? Do I sound smart? Do I sound caring and capable? Do I sound creative? Do I sound organized? Like, there are a million of them. Casper gives you a nice list of just 10. That's kind of why I like Casper. AAMC, as you know, gives you a big list of all kinds of competencies. Look at those competencies. We are looking for those things. We see your metrics quite clearly on page 1, you know, all your scores and grades and GPAs and MCAT and all the things, all the breakdowns are there from high school, from SAT on, right? We see that very clearly. In your personal bio, we see the list of your activities, but what is coming out in terms of your personal characteristics? Do you know what metrics plus experiences plus personal attributes is? That triad is holistic review. So we're looking for this well-roundedness. We see other things very, very quickly, clearly. It's the personal attributes that we're digging for. Okay, so don't make us dig, put them there. 5,000 characters, that's what the numbers are there. You do need to rework your essays. You do not need to start, like, invent the wheel. Okay, you can shift things around, use some literary device. I'm not an English person, but I mean an English major or a writing expert or anything. But you know, you can rework things, pull things out of order. You know, I'll tell you a hint. Quite commonly, I find a sentence in a personal statement and I'll go, gosh, you could sort of start with that sentence, and then reapplicant should rework some things, but you could start with that sentence and it gives me wonder and pause, and I wonder what that means, and I read on to see. So there's an older personal statement workshop still up, and there'll be one coming up in for Club PreMed shortly. And then so this is the second essay is reworded now, but to describe your personal qualities, your personal attributes. I would still use it, talk about a challenge and what personal qualities you grew out of that challenge, or a story with a person where you really felt your empathy grow, for example, those kinds of things. And then anything else you want to tell us. I think, you know, the unique things sometimes may throw people off, and you might say, well, I don't have anything unique, but I sure would like to talk about this, but this is not that unique. So just, this is a place for you to tell us about anything else. Okay. TMDSAS tells you save often, save often, save often. Spaces count in that character count. So if you learned to do period and then space before a new sentence, don't do that. You'll get a few more words in that way. Don't abbreviate. They tell you not to abbreviate. I would say if it's a very common abbreviation, you can use it. Okay. But don't make me wonder, is this the AMA or against, you know, AMA is the American Medical Association, or it's also against medical advice for those of you who may have worked or scribed in the ER. So don't make me think about what it is. And if it's a very long thing that you're spelling out, like the University of Texas Health Science Center, San Antonio, like, don't do that. You know, find a way to shorten it. And when you cut and paste in that system, it can go wonky on you. So, and turn question marks into squares and deltas and things like that. So watch when you cut and paste, look for the symbols and make sure you read everything. Okay. Your reporting in the personal biography says after your high school diploma, graduation, or GED, what has happened since then. So this is all in the handbook. excuse me, in the handbook, the TMDSAS and the AAMC AMCAS systems have handbooks, guides for you, and they tell you how to answer every single question, including your name, because your name might have um, a saint, like do you put the dot or not, or you might have a hyphenated name or a double last name. So it tells you everything. Read how to answer every single question. Okay. They're asking, so then mostly college or post high school activities. A lot of people who are non-traditional figure out how to, especially if you've been out for a long time, you would have 40 pages of things. And maybe in that setting, you want to pick out the highlights. One category only, with few exceptions. I told you about employment and healthcare. If you've got a leadership, a robust, excuse me, leadership or research activity that really has like research and healthcare or leadership and service, if you are going to repeat that activity, it should be because the leadership component was huge and the service component was huge, and you would never cut and paste the same description on those two things. Okay, you would gear it towards that other category. Reflect, reflect, reflect. It's a superpower. I'm going to show you some examples of good, better, best. You want to describe things in the very best possible way. I already told you sort of what stood out for me. There's a lot here, but and you've got lots of activities and lots of thoughts about these. If you use these 3 prompts, you don't have to use all 3, but as you are writing about each activity, if you ask, how was this is your reflection superpower, like guide, you're welcome. How was this meaningful to me? What lessons did I learn from this activity? And how did I grow from this activity? You'll be able to tell us in a much more meaningful way, in a deeper way. Nobody's going to call this superficial then, okay? And you use this reflection and these prompts, you carry those deeper conversations into your interview answers, okay? It's very important. So do you want to see some real examples of personal biographies? Here you go. The leader, I have highlighted leadership honors, that's healthcare community service research. Now they call it community engagement. I'm sticking to service because I like serving. I like the serving piece. Research, and then this is extracurricular and work or employment. So look, a nice array of honors and awards, a certificate of excellence from a summer program, all things that stand out that you got that nobody else got. That's what should go on this list. We have people with a 4.0 who do not list any honors and awards. Did you run out of time? Did you like, are you trying to be humble? So it's not a time to be humble. List if you're on a dean's list or made some academic accomplishments there too. That honors and awards are academic and non-academic. So keep that in mind for sports awards, or we see poetry contests, writing contests, photo and painting contests. So anything goes in there. This is like don't be an underseller, put everything. Leadership position there, some research, that's excellent. I don't remember what I put they also did a poster or a presentation on these things. That's a little added value there. Look at the healthcare experiences, hospital volunteer. When you take your shoebox and you lay out all your activities and you see things in different areas, hospital volunteering actually could be service. They do say non-medical, but you're going to be forgiven if you put that under community service. There are people we see sometimes, for example, with 0 community service, but they have 1,000 hours as a hospital volunteer. So we look at that and say that's a good thing. So hospital courier 1, 2, 3 times is listed in healthcare and community service. I don't know. I guess they're serving the mission of the institution, but they were paid for it. That's why these are boxed. So I probably would have not put it under service. In this one, here's AED. Don't forget, if you belong to an organization that has requirements for you, that's something that not everybody does. Okay. So don't forget your AED Honor Society or other organizations and things. Leadership, lots of great, couple of Chi Omega different things. Chi-O, I think they're owls, right? Any owls in the room? Anyway, sororities and fraternities are great. Tell us how you served, how you improved the socialization of people or raised money. All those things are good. AED officer is okay to put there. Extra, my big thing here is like no extracurricular, like nothing. So let's move on. And gosh, like, what do you do in your spare time? You know, you could say you're a movie buff. You could say you go to the gym. Well, I have some caveats about that section, but anyway, here's another one: honors and awards, employee of the month from Costco. Love. You know, some of you do work study on your campus and things like that. We love to see that somebody has been stationed at the Jack in the Box window. Has anybody done that kind of work? It is hard, and people are critical. They don't get their extra ketchup. That's my husband. And I'm like, please don't look through the bag. We have ketchup at home. You know, sometimes people are hard to deal with. You are practicing patience. You are practicing communication skills when you work in those jobs. So we think they're excellent. Um, and look, you can be employee of the month.
Can I
Here's,
ask
yes,
really a question? I'm sorry to interrupt.
yes,
Um,
no,
looking back at the personal biography where she was a Kaio,
huh?
would it have been possible for her to put that she was a Kaio under her extracurricular activities,
Yes,
or are you look okay, I just wanted to ask about that.
absolutely, absolutely. She did have leadership there, but that's a great thing. People do put organizations, memberships in that area too.
Okay. Thank you so
Home-
much.
Homeless clinic volunteer. I don't know why did I box this? Um, Maybe because it could have gone in community service, but look at this. This is a power hobby here. This is a power activity, 2,000 hours as a science tutor. That's great. I might have boxed it because we love when you are connecting with, I call it heart to heart and hand to hand, when you're doing community service and raising money and running marathons and people are giving you like a quarter for each mile or whatever, however that works. I'm not sure. That is a wonderful thing. All good things are good. But when you are sitting with an elderly person whose friends are gone, whose family is somewhere far away, busy with their younger life, and you spend time to be with another human being, that's heart to heart and hand to hand. And that's a little more of value on the surface, at least for a lot of us. Okay, so maybe that's why I boxed that one. Here is extracurricular dancing and running. Really depends on what the description is. I think we're going to get into some, and in case we don't, if you have here, let's just say half of those healthcare things weren't there, and the science tutor for community service wasn't there, that big thing. So there are some hours in healthcare, some hours in serving, but there are 4,000 hours in the gym or 4,000 hours running. You probably need to look at that 4,000 that we're seeing and kind of somehow dial it down. I want you to be honest on an application, right? And a lot of you like work out on a regular basis. And so you're logging quite a few hours per week. Somebody on a committee somewhere or everywhere is going to look at the 4,000 and the 100 or 60 and make a comment. Okay. So just so you're aware. Oh, I love this part. Okay. This is what people actually wrote. I'm going to show you some people who employed the superpower. medical scribe, you're going to put all of these things are on the shoebox, right? So when you're teeing up your activities, if you haven't applied yet, you want to tee them up knowing what the application is going to ask for. So it's going to ask for all these things, names, dates. I would say for total hours, so they don't calculate this for you. You get to put in the total hours and the hours per week, which of course, in many of your activities are either 1 hour or 10 hours or 20 hours a week or something. So I would do the total hours first and not go, well, I'm working, 4 hours a week at this place and for years, and I've continued to plan on. So you've got thousands of generated hours there. So watch those numbers too. That is not an issue very often. The gym, 4,000 hours in the gym comes up all the time.
Excuse me, Dr. K. Sorry to interrupt. I have a question over the prior slide.
Okay.
So, could you return to the, yes, to that one. On the section oh yes, my name is Carla Galvan. Sorry.
I see. Thank you.
It's on the section of the honors and awards. I noticed that they listed lab safety training and pathogen training.
Yes.
So taking like those specialized trainings for laboratory count actually for awards and honors?
Sure. So I think that there's nothing wrong with you all have accumulated a lot of certificates along the way, some even in high school. This is asking for college, but I think we would forgive you to put things that you earned in high school. I think there are quite a few people with pharmacy tech certification, things like that. Wherever you want to put that is really okay. If you have no shadowing, no scribing, you have never been in the room with a physician, it doesn't, if you put those in healthcare, it's additive. It doesn't, it's a supplement. It doesn't, you really need to be in experiences with a physician. Okay. Where did you go?
Oh, hello.
Yeah, there you are, Carla.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's fine there, and I think it's fine if you want to put them in healthcare with your other things, or even in extracurricular. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes people have done a certificate and worked in that field. So the
Yes.
certificate is good, and it's another good thing if you've worked in that area as well. Okay.
Yeah. I'm currently working in a research laboratory, so I do have to have these trainings, but I didn't know that I can put them
Sure.
on
Yes.
certifications. That's cool.
Please do.
Thank you.
So in this one, this person is telling us, you saw already, like, not exactly reject, maybe they're, and I don't mean rejecting the whole application, but this person is telling us what a scribe is. I don't know how many characters that is, but they wasted that opportunity to tell us what? The 3 reflection things. Tell us, how was this meaningful? What lessons did you learn? How did you grow being a medical scribe? This person is telling us what a medical scribe is. Do you think that everybody reading your application is going to already kind of know like what a medical scribe is? Of course.
Dr. Kellaway, I have a question.
Yes.
So in the previous slide where we were talking about the, I think where it says, yeah, the certifications. So would that include training that you've had to do for like camps?
Was it CPR? I would put it. Was it safety? Was it health
Yeah.
and safety of some sort? Was it boating
Yeah.
safety? Yeah, I would put that in there.
Okay. Because like I'm a child life volunteer, but there's different, you have to have different, if you want to do NICU, you have to do different things.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And again, same, wherever you want to put them is fine. Okay, so let's go on. Don't tell us what a scribe is. We know what a scribe is. Let's look at this one. Hospital volunteer, help direct patients to their appointments and answered questions at the visitor center, and sometimes transported people if needed. Well, how do you rate that? Thumbs up, thumbs down. There could be a lot more in there, okay? There could be a lot more in there. Let me tell you, this volunteer said, I tried to provide comfort, hope, and support to patients and families, enhancing my ability to communicate and show compassion in challenging situations. I demonstrated ability to, and see how they like cut the words. So you can cut those characters. We're fine with that, okay? In these descriptions. Demonstrated ability to counsel and help create a positive environment for patients while maintaining a professional presence. What do you know about this person? This is Robert, and this is real. What do you know about this person? I know he cares about how his patients that he interacts with are feeling. I think he's a responsible person. I think he is telling me that he's trying to behave as a professional person. It's awesome. And that's only 270 characters. He's got another 230 left because this now has 500. So that's excellent, excellent. Beautiful thing. As is this one, courier, served as a, I think, we'll see, served as a liaison between pharmacists and doctors to ensure medication is delivered in a timely manner to the appropriate rooms, communicated with doctors and nurses and pharmacists when medication needed to be modified, resolved issues quickly. This is a problem solver person. Do you see? Do you see what I'm talking about? So develop skills to work effectively on a team. In 300 characters, they still have 200 more characters to tell me something else. It's awesome, right? So terrific there, terrific. Worked in small teams to organize and distribute donated items. Do you all just know from Pre-Med World what Project Cure is? Is this project? Yeah, this is Project Cure. Do you know what it is? Like, I do not. I have not heard of it. So worked in small teams, distributed things to underserved countries. Don't know if it's local or national, a homegrown thing or a big international project. Learn how to make an impact when working on a team. Communicate. So the things in there are good, but hopefully, so that's probably what? That's probably 300 characters. But I like, is it an international, is it a chapter at your school of an international organization? Like what? I would have liked some other details. Worked with a team of 40 people. I love when you tell us like how big was this entity that you're working with. You know, you did a leadership thing. Who was in your group? 4 people or 40 or 400? Not that 400 is better than 40, but it's just nice to know the complexity or the robustness of that activity. Worked with 40 people to prepare meals and essential items. Taught me the importance of collaborating to be productive and efficient. Frequently assigned as team leader. Cool, right? You like this one? I like this one. So very good. Those are examples of what a little reflection, quiet chair, favorite place, surround yourself with silence, and just think and ask yourself those 3 superpower questions. Okay. And that's what you can come up with. So those are awesome. The timeline, of course, you need to check your deadlines every year. If you are new to all of this, I must tell you that and lots of other people in the room will tell you that October 1 deadline is not your typical deadline. On October 2nd, we're not opening everything up. We're opening everything up on May 15th when you can submit on May 16th or as soon as it is processed by TMDSAS. So it's not your typical deadline, okay, as we mentioned earlier. So I don't know if y'all have any questions about all of those markers across time, but we can save that for questions. There is a new TMDSAS evaluation form for your recommenders, your letter writers. They can use the form on the application, and it focuses on your personal attributes, okay, from a person who knows you a lot better than we do in the 20 or 30-minute interview, right? So be purposeful, be organized, be disciplined, use your reflection superpower, use a personal growth plan, more on that coming up, and climb, challenge yourself, learn something new, improve yourself in some way, meet people of the world, especially people who are not like you, so that you can show us how you can take care of everyone. Just like you take care of your own people, you're going to take care of everyone 110%. Break out of your comfort zone. Okay, so that was that. And we can go, I'm going to stop the share and we will go to questions now. And that didn't leave us much time, but let's see what we can, I'm going to answer the questions that are in the Q&A first, and then I'll look at the chat. Does difficulty of major? It sure does. All kinds of things are in that GPA. Schools, programs, honors programs, competitive, seemingly competitive majors. But I also want to tell you, if you think that your major might some people might give it less value, then please tell us all that was involved at some point, you know, in the interview setting, maybe in that optional essay about how rigorous your academic track actually was. So those are all taken into account for your GPA semester by semester. We see it science and non-science. You have got to demonstrate academic strength, but we do take all that into consideration. Master's program, I'm eligible for a committee packet. Okay. So I don't think that that will negatively affect you at all. I know Baylor to have a pretty rigorous, you know, they ask you to like practically do the application before they talk to you as a committee packet. So I don't think that that will, if you do or you don't have a committee packet, actually for any school, it's not a deal breaker at all for us. Letters of recommendation are most often very, very, very positive and just additive. Sometimes they're positive, but they don't add a lot. When they add, there are, where is this thing? There are special ways that you should ask a person to write a letter for you and information you should give them. One of the pieces of information you should give them is that we are looking for personal attributes. Okay. We're almost at the end. Somebody was going to remind me to talk about white coat notes. I have a series of little books on Amazon for beginners, how to begin, but that letter, I think that includes the letter writing component. It could be I think you can see the chapters. The other book that's up there now so that's On Doctoring How to Begin is number 1, really. Number 6, the shadowing book that you can put in your pocket, and lots, pages and pages of reflection questions with some lines you can to write down your reflections. And the other one is now I can't remember what I just uploaded, maybe walking through the application. So it's on one of those things, but you can find out how to ask people for a letter. Anyway, ask them to focus on the personal attributes. Are GPAs considered separately? So we see an overall GPA, which often is very, very similar to the undergraduate GPA. We see the master's also, yes, your master's program will be considered. And we understand very well that people are trying to show academic strength in those master's programs. So yes, that is taken care of. If you are far out of school and your weaker grades were years ago, please talk to me about Fresh Start, because that's a great option for people who can wait a little bit to help that. Using quotes in a personal statement. So that's going to be a Club PreMed presentation probably in the next month or two with interviewing. Quotes can be good. Sometimes they can seem a little bit, what do I want to say? I don't want to say trite, but just be careful how you use the quotes. If you mean a quote by Maya Angelou and it's something that you say often and live by, I want to know why. If you have some traditions and cultures and backgrounds in a variety of communities, sometimes you have special sayings related to your community. I would like to know about that motto or quote. Okay, because we do have some that are special to us, right? So if you're quoting some random person and trying to tie it in, that doesn't work as well, but we can see that. So if it's something that is already very meaningful to you, then I think that that's the best way to do that. Okay, let me do this. I think I'm getting to do you all see the list of questions? Yes, it's kind of fun. I have to put some in a nice order for me. Let's see. So I think we're on, unless I skip some. Opinion of reapplying right after the previous cycle. So you applied last May, so what is this, like 8 or 9, 7, 8, 9 months since you've submitted that previous application? Maybe you've been doing some new things, but maybe you've been focused mostly on academics and don't have a lot of things to add, so you need to weigh that. And if you don't have a lot to add, a gap year is a wonderful way. I have another thing I like to tell people is in any time period, a semester, a month, quarterly, like if you're out of school, maybe it could still be by semester, do 4 things for me. Keep doing 4 things. Work your brain. If you're out of school or have been out of school, like take biochemistry on Khan Academy. I know you've done your MCAT. Take genetics, take immunology, work your brain. If you're out of school, work your brain. Number 2, this is be well, WELL. 2, E, keep exploring medicine and healthcare and finding out more things about it virtually, on your own with a book, or exploring TED Talks or things like that. Those all count. Explore medicine. Continue to serve people. That's lend a hand. Lend a hand to people and still be serving people, because that's how you're going to spend your life. You should be wanting to practice that now. And 4th is learn something new. Use your personal growth plan to have a project going where you develop a hobby or elevate a hobby and things like that. I can tell you more about that later if you wish. So that is, that's what I think about reapplying. I hope that helped. Please just unmute if you would like me to elaborate, but I'll try to get to these quickly first. How do you prefer we address hours for activities that were less frequent? Animal hospital for a couple of hours each month. I think that's fine. So the monthly total, so again, I would kind of go with the total and then divide it up a week. And if it's 2 hours a week, but you've done it for 2 years, I mean, the hours are going to total up. So we see all that, but I would do the total hours first and work backwards with the math. Okay. I hope that helped you. Please ask again to clarify. If not, how are we able to? Yes. So this we have, if you go to YouTube and you look up Long School of Medicine Club PreMed, there are old and some current videos. I'd love to know what you think about the professionalism videos. It's a topic that we're sort of into lately. We're going to do a discussion at one of the upcoming Club PreMed's with chats like this. But this video will be uploaded as soon as I can get to it, hopefully within the week. Okay. So that's where you will find it. You go to that YouTube channel and you'll know you're there by a bunch of big blue icons. So, yes. What threshold would you recommend retaking? Or doing, okay, so that's a very good question. And we have rather high averages, but we do have ranges, I would say, in general. So people ask also, like, should I do a master's program to augment my GPA and things like that? If you're 3.6, 3.7, I think you're okay. GPA wise and in the running. If it's lower, if it's 3.5, 3.4 and lower, I think maybe you do need to show us in a different way some academic strength. For the MCAT, we all sort of know where our students might have a struggle. Our average is high, as I said, but the Texas state average for people who get into medical school is a 512. That is also the US matriculant average is at a 512. So if you're at a 512, you are going to have some doors opening for you. Okay. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you. And let's see. So I think I answered that too. What science? So, and really the science GPA is very important. So I would say if it's lower, on that lower side of 3.6, 3.7, I think you're okay. 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 So So I think this is so interesting, and I always tell people apply to, curate your list, but for $225, maybe it's up a little bit now, you get 14 schools to apply to. When people are applying to one school, sometimes we can assume that it's a person deferred from an acceptance from the previous year. It is so in general, without knowing any of the background, it is very risky to apply to one school. And I understand that people have families, um, like very important reasons, families or a spouse with a job or a commitment in one city. Um, it really is risky. And but we understand it. So yes, would we like to hear that? We would like to hear about it. But even better, we'd sort of like to see activity. I'm saying this part with caution, seeing that you're willing to sacrifice some time to places that might be a little closer in in the geographic area. Um, and what else was I gonna say about this? Um, it's just a little risky to do. You want as many open doors as possible. Hopefully the other point, well, oh, here's the other point. If you get into a school, if you get an acceptance to a school and you really, okay, want to try again for your geographic area or something, you have to decline an acceptance to a medical school is like for many schools, it's a deal breaker because it's so competitive. So before that happens, before a match or pre-match, maybe that's the time to think about withdrawing your application so that that doesn't happen to you. Anyway, hopefully you'll build a strong application and be competitive everywhere. I hope that that helped. Um, So you are a reapplicant if you have ever made an application in the AMCAS system or in the TMDSAS system. So sometimes we see that people are now applying to us, and we're so happy for that because we can share all the good things that happen here at this school. But yes, so we do see that, but it's not a red flag at all. We're like, okay, yeah, now you're in the game. Where we're glad for that. So it's not a red flag. Um, okay. Hospice volunteering. So gosh, it really would. So I would not repeat that. I it just depends on what is going on in that hospice activity. It would have to be that, I'm not sure how you can double up on that. So maybe if you clarify that a little bit, I wouldn't put it in both healthcare and community service. The question writer writes clinical, and actually that comes up quite a lot. Y'all say, where should I put these clinical hours? So clinical hours go in healthcare. The AMCAS system, we have 8 categories. AMCAS system has 16 for you. We just keep it simple. I think 16 categories can be taken as, oh my gosh, I don't have anything in this category. I better go run out and do something and check it off the list. So I think you have an individualized offering in your application. And the clinical, so I'm assuming you mean putting it in healthcare and community service. So I wouldn't do that. I think I would pick one place. It's very valuable wherever you put it. In a master's program, and how many hours of improvement in terms of academics should be, yeah. So if you're in a master's program now, we might not see those grades until the spring. That's another reason to maybe wait a year and be able to present those higher grades later. I hope that helped. Oh gosh, we could like do questions forever. Um, for reapplications, is there a review Sometimes I would reach out to the schools and see, I would reach out to all schools and see who might be able to help. We do a very limited number. So hopefully you got some ideas from this, but just reach out to other schools and ask. Medical scribing supervisor. Um, Yes, and I would put maybe your previous learning as a medical scribe under the healthcare part, and then what you do as a leader. Just make sure you describe those two areas in leadership and healthcare as a scribe supervisor. Maybe make sure you describe them differently. We do not have cutoffs at all. But I told you our numbers that we're sort of looking for to recommend some extra work. Um, we look at trends for sure. So we look at a rising trend, and the MCAT score can tell us a lot too. So yes, all of those are still taken into consideration. Yes, so I think I made it to, oh, it was the last question. Um, Hopefully we have some time, but would you please clarify about the new evaluation? So it can replace a letter of recommendation. So look at the new letter of recommendation form that is in TMDSAS. I think it will gain popularity because it's pretty easy for a letter writer to use that. It's little small boxes, and if you haven't seen the person and their collaborative strengths, then you just put not applicable, or maybe you write a page, and there's a way to upload the letter writer's own thoughts and free form. So yes, please, it can replace the letters of recommendation. But just read the rules about it, okay? Normally it's a committee letter or 3 with the ability to upload 1 extra letter. And our school and others give our applicants a chance, or interviewees a chance to upload other additional letters. Volunteered but had different roles. Yeah, you can describe those for us. Absolutely. Okay, if you're doing different things in the same organization, that is great. Okay, I'm so glad it's helpful. You have a great day too. Our military applicants have a lot to write about. Um, Gosh, leadership, healthcare, serving. You have already, it's like people who have done Peace Corps. That's like a dedication to serving, and we all appreciate that sacrifice that you make, and thank you for your service, because um, because we wouldn't be a great country without it. So thank you for that. And I think there are many components to write about. Um, so just look and see, there's a whole section for military, but then your various leadership and healthcare, or extracurricular even things can be listed in that application. I'm sort of scrolling back. You are fine off camera. Thank you. A question about the essays. So if you have important activities in high school and you can't put them in your bio, the essays are a beautiful place to put those important activities. So absolutely, they can go in those essays. Where do you put professional certifications? I think we talked about that. Put them wherever you would like. Will be on YouTube as soon as I can get it up there. Yeah, the 3-month gap. I'm not sure. Like, so even as a non-trad, you were working or doing something, maybe. See what you can come up with. And I just recommend that you, it was a new finding for me, actually. So see what the guidebook tells you about that 3-month error that is raised with the 3-month gap. Past recordings are on YouTube channel. And have I gotten to all of them? So that's good. A letter of recommendation is not always needed for an invitation to interview. We often have, especially in the beginning, tag people that we want to interview. We tag them to make sure we do review that letter of recommendation later, but we don't hold we want as many people to be considered complete. We will chase down your letter of recommendation as soon as it comes. So I'm going to say thank you so much. Thank you for being here today. I'm going to turn off the recording, okay? And we'll get together. We'll do something in a month and give you other chances to ask questions and things. I wish you all the best. It's a hard journey. We understand that. We understand that it is fraught with anxiety and fatigue and overwhelming, being overwhelmed. So hang in there. Use your inspirational resources to hang in there and keep going. And I can't wait to look at your applications and see all the great things that you've done.